6:49 is the time this Friday, here with your headlines you need to know in our Smart Start. And new this morning for the first time, we are hearing from a local group called Decoys Making a Difference. Those members work to catch child predators all through social media.
Posing as minors, they have conversations with these suspects and then meet with them for the catch, which they then post online. I spoke with Stephanie, the founder of the group. She asked that we not share her last name. She says when she was a minor, she was hurt by a family member and does this work to protect other kids. She's even earning her degree in criminal justice, set to graduate in May. Stephanie tells me a lot of law enforcement agencies aren't willing to work with the group to the point where they won't look at the material they bring forward, which is frustrating since they pride themselves on their airtight work.
We don't want to entice them to commit a crime. Everything needs to be their idea. So we're not you don't want to basically dangle a carrot in front of them and make them chase it. It's you want them to, you want to find a real child predator. So you want them to do the chasing. You don't want, obviously we're not sending bad pictures. We're not, if they ask us if we want, say they're offering to send a nude, we're not telling them that they can send it because we don't want to be liable for them committing that felony. They need to do it on their own. They want to send it, they can send it, but we're not giving them permission to commit crimes. Everything is their choice.
Last June, the group decoyed Christopher Curvin. He thought he was speaking with a 14-year-old. They gave over all their material to the Perry Police Department. We did speak with the chief, who said the evidence was overwhelming. Curvin ended up pleading guilty to attempted disseminating indecent material to minors and was sentenced to jail time and probation.
Lawmakers in Ontario County have yet to make a final decision on if they will create a registry of short-term rental properties such as Airbnbs. In December of 2024, the state passed a new law requiring all counties do this, but it gave each jurisdiction the option to create a local law to opt out of making the database. That's what Monroe County did. One concern we've heard is how a registry would be paid for. The common method is for a county to use funds collected from an occupancy tax, but Ontario County law does not allow for tax collection from those rentals. Some seem to have already made up their minds.
It's just not worth the cost and the burden at this point. At this time, with the scenario and the parameters that we have in front of us, the board is feeling as though opting out is probably the best choice. But there was discussion that at some future date, that situation could change and it may be worthwhile for us to contemplate opting back in.
Despite this topic being top of the agenda for the board meeting last night, county officials say they haven't heard that much of anything one way or the other from the public on the issue. The Board of Supervisors will take up a vote on this at a meeting in late May.
As Governor Kathy Hochul pushes to build more nuclear power facilities in New York, one site in Rochester is up for consideration. The state is considering a proposal to build one at Eastman Business Park. The power plant operator there, Red Rochester, supports the idea, saying it would be well suited for a big facility or a smaller nuclear unit. That made Rochester one of only 8 places statewide the Power Authority is considering. Unicon Executive Director Joe Morelli Jr. says his organization backs the proposal because the construction of it will require labor and the power generated will kickstart other projects.
The fact that we don't have enough power, whether that's for commercial applications, whether that's for residential applications, I mean, look at what we've heard about happening in Henrietta. So power is such a priority.
As for a timeline for the selection process, Morelli says he doesn't know, but suggests it'll have to happen after a budget is passed. And it might be a while before that, as lawmakers have passed another emergency budget extender to fund state operations through Monday. Another extender is expected then, making the final state budget at least 3 weeks late. Negotiations over policy changes involving climate laws, housing regulations, auto insurance, and immigration have stalled, with environmental policy representing bigger disagreements. The total cost of all budget extenders so far has hit $7.5 billion. The stopgap measure spends $79 million to prevent a government shutdown.
7 minutes to go until 7. Your sunrise traffic updates here from our Greater Rock Sky Eye, and still seeing all that fog from high up. You're supposed to be looking out over 490 towards Yates Chi High School and over the Red Wings ballpark, but that is the current condition now. On our map, we can tell you some slowdowns in Greece. There's a crash reported Corona Road and West Ridge Road. Passing through Irondequoit, 104 in Ridge is okay. 390 north and southbound, moving along average drive time so far early on this Friday. It is a night of mind-bending magic coming to Rochester tonight, and the audience can be part of the act.
Magician Michael Carbonaro is bringing his Wonder Boy tour to Kodak Center tonight. Best known for his hit show, The Carbonaro Effect, he says performing magic live is a completely different experience where every show changes based on the crowd. He gave our Gio Battaglia a sneak peek at what fans can expect.
Fans of the show will come in and see it live. They'll be sitting there in the audience like, oh, okay, this is like actually happening in front of me or to me or right in front of my face. So it's not CGI or actors or special effects magic. It's actual tricks, I'll say.
Now, am I allowed to ask you if you can do a demo?
Oh, well, I could do, I would have to have my, is this like, I guess my camera has to be kind of clear for that. Can you see it clearly on there?
Yeah.
Like you'd be able to see if something looked like unusual.
Oh my God.
Like
Too good. Gio has more tricks for Behind the Curtain. Yours to watch at 9 tonight on the Rochester First streaming app.
So much fun. Be sure to check that out. Final forecast here. Last day before the weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Today we're dealing with clouds, so we've got a little bit of drizzle out there, some fog as well. So definitely take it easy on roads because of that fog. Sun later today. It'll take a while, but we will get there tomorrow. Back to summer, upper 70s. The morning to lunchtime looks great, and rain in the afternoon, heavy at times. That's going to bring our transition down to Sunday, 51. That's an early morning high temperature. Most of the day spent in the 40s, and then just chilly going into early next week. Couple of lows in the 20s there. You see people putting blankets over their plants. They're not crazy. It's actually the smart thing to do if you did plant a little bit too early.
It's like a Snuggie. You can put one on
I think
a azalea bush or something.
Good idea. Right.
How do we go from magicians and Gio's big celebrities to what we do on the podcast at 9 o'clock each morning?
Yeah.
We'll see this morning on the streaming app. How about this tease?
Yeah.
I've got a breakup that's coming. And it's going to be tough.
Oh, okay.
We'll get through it.
There you go.
I'll explain what that situation is.
It's not mutual.
It's
It is not.
mutual.
I found someone else.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have
Okay.
to call it off with someone.
That was very, very dramatic. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. That does it for us. CBS Mornings up next.
It's not a cheap one either.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, X, and on our app for news and weather. Get the Rochester First streaming app today for everything you love from News 8 On Demand, plus exclusive shows you won't see anywhere else. Search ROC and download for free on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.